Nearly 10,000 voices have risen in a furious chorus, demanding answers that powerful figures hoped would never be asked. A massive petition, impossible for authorities to ignore, is shaking the foundations of the prominent Daystar organization. Its target: securing a truly independent, third-party investigation into deeply disturbing allegations of child sexual abuse against Pete, a well-known figure within the institution. This isn't just a list of names. It's a raw, collective scream for justice, accountability, and the shattering of a silence that many fear has protected the guilty for too long. The petitioners don't just want an inquiry. They demand one completely free from the internal influences, loyalties, and potential conflicts of interest that have seemingly plagued this case from the start. They argue, with mounting evidence, that only an investigation led by impartial professionals, seasoned lawyers, certified investigators with specific expertise in child abuse, and respected forensic specialists, can cut through the fog of denial and potential obstruction to uncover the unvarnished truth. The trust once placed in Daystar, seen by many as a beacon of faith and community, lies in tatters. This petition represents a desperate, last-ditch effort by thousands to claw back some semblance of faith in an institution now shrouded in suspicion. The stakes couldn't be higher: a child's well-being, the integrity of a major organization, and the fundamental question of whether powerful insiders can manipulate the system. The world is watching. Like, comment, and subscribe right now. Your engagement fuels our fight to uncover the truth in this critical investigation. Validating the family's worst fears was Debbie Leonard, a licensed forensic examiner with over 2 decades of experience specializing in child trauma. When she first encountered Baby Lamb, the contrast between the child described by her parents, lively, engaged, and the withdrawn, terrified little girl before her was stark and deeply unsettling. Leonard's subsequent professional assessment wasn't based on hearsay. It was a meticulous, evidence-based evaluation of the child's psychological state. Her conclusion was unequivocal: Baby Lamb's severe trauma symptoms, the crippling avoidance, the specific fear responses, the profound withdrawal, were directly and causally linked to Pete's presence. Leonard described the child as having been emotionally and psychologically broken, a chillingly precise and heartbreaking diagnosis that cut through any potential deflection or minimization. Her expertise provided the crucial, professional foundation that transformed parental concern into a validated case demanding serious attention. Leonard's role extends beyond diagnosis. Her willingness to testify in court underscores the gravity she assigns to this case and the strength of her findings. Her involvement elevates the allegations beyond mere accusations. It presents documented, professional evidence of profound harm inflicted upon a child, evidence that now forms a cornerstone of the demand for an impartial, external investigation. She stands as a critical bulwark against attempts to dismiss the family's claims. The picture painted by witnesses adds disturbing layers and context to Baby Lamb's terror. Multiple individuals have come forward, recounting specific instances of Pete's behavior that crossed boundaries and raised serious concerns long before the full extent of Baby Lamb's trauma was understood. Accounts detail Pete engaging in excessive, prolonged, and age-inappropriate physical contact, hugging that lingered too long, kissing that felt invasive, touching that made observers deeply uncomfortable. These actions, often brushed off by some within the Daystar environment as mere overfamiliarity or affection, took on a profoundly sinister significance in light of Baby Lamb's specific, extreme reactions to him. One particularly alarming incident, corroborated by witnesses, involved Pete entering Baby Lamb's private bedroom without permission or invitation. Allegations of a cover-up quickly emerged, pointing directly at high-ranking Daystar figures, starting with Joni Lamb. Instead of offering support or facilitating a proper investigation into Baby Lamb's allegations, Joni is accused of actively obstructing the path to justice. Shockingly, she allegedly discouraged Baby Lamb's parents from involving law enforcement, the very authorities trained and equipped to handle such serious crimes. Furthermore, Joni reportedly orchestrated a private, unsupervised meeting with a deeply traumatized child. The aftermath of this meeting was immediate and devastating. Baby Lamb, who had previously been able to articulate fragments of her fear and experience, abruptly and completely stopped speaking about the abuse or Pete. This sudden, profound silence, occurring directly after the meeting with a powerful figure within the organization perceived as protecting Pete, has fueled intense suspicion that Joni may have used her influence to coerce, intimidate, or manipulate the vulnerable child into silence. Her alleged actions, if proven, represent a calculated effort to prioritize protecting Daystar's reputation and shielding Pete from accountability, utterly disregarding the welfare of a victimized child. This perceived obstruction of justice has placed Joni Lamb squarely under the microscope of public scrutiny and the petitioner's demands, raising the critical question: how far did she go to bury the truth? Marcus Lamb, another central figure within Daystar, faces serious allegations of complicity in the potential cover-up. Reports indicate that Marcus informed Baby Lamb's parents that Pete had already been cleared of any wrongdoing regarding the abuse allegations. This declaration of innocence, however, appears to have been made without any semblance of a thorough, impartial, or even basic internal investigation. There's no evidence of witness interviews, no review of the documented behavioral changes, no consultation with Debbie Leonard about her forensic findings. This premature exoneration, delivered by a leader wielding significant authority within the organization, effectively shut down any internal scrutiny of Pete and sent a chilling message to Baby Lamb's family. Their concerns were dismissed, their child's trauma ignored. Marcus's actions have raised profound and disturbing questions about the integrity of Daystar's leadership and its internal processes for handling serious allegations. The scandal took another ethically reprehensible turn with the actions of Rachel Lamb. Demonstrating a shocking disregard for privacy and the victim's well-being, Rachel allegedly accessed and then publicly shared Baby Lamb's private medical details on social media platforms. This wasn't just insensitive, it was a blatant, potentially illegal, breach of confidentiality and medical privacy laws, like HIPAA. The information shared on her was deeply personal, relating to the child's trauma and medical/psychological state stemming directly from the alleged abuse. This violation served no purpose other than to potentially intimidate the family, discredit their claims, or gossip about their private ordeal. It weaponized the child's suffering for public consumption. This action ignited further waves of public fury, serving as a stark, undeniable example of the ethical rot and systemic failures seemingly embedded within the Daystar organization's response to this crisis. It demonstrated a callous disregard for the victim's dignity and privacy, further eroding any remaining shreds of trust in the institution's leadership and internal culture. Rachel Lamb's actions became a powerful symbol of the organization's perceived prioritization of damage control over basic human decency and victim protection, intensifying scrutiny on her role and the environment that enabled such a breach. The Daystar child abuse scandal, ignited by the suffering of one little girl known as Baby Lamb and propelled into the national consciousness by the force of nearly 10,000 petitioners, transcends a singular tragedy. It has morphed into a searing indictment of institutional power, the devastating consequences of failed accountability, and the enduring, brutal reality of child sexual abuse often shrouded in secrecy and protected by influence. The core narrative remains agonizingly clear. Serious allegations against a prominent insider, Pete, were met not with swift, impartial investigation and support for the victim, but with a pattern of behavior from high-ranking figures, Joni Lamb, Marcus Lamb, Rachel Lamb, that reeks of obstruction, minimization, and a desperate scramble to protect the organization's facade at all costs. The attempted fabrication of an exoneration letter by Pete himself underscores the brazen lengths allegedly taken to manipulate the truth. Baby Lamb's documented trauma, professionally validated by Debbie Leonard, stands as an undeniable beacon demanding justice, cutting through the fog of denial. The sheer scale of the public petition is a historic rebuke, a collective roar of outrage that institutional self-preservation cannot be allowed to override the safety of children and the pursuit of truth. It signifies a fundamental breakdown in trust, a sense that powerful entities, even those cloaked in religious purpose, can become dangerously insular and self-protective when faced with scandal. The reopening of the police investigation offers a fragile but vital lifeline to justice. However, it arrives amidst a landscape poisoned by the alleged actions of Daystar's leadership. The premature exoneration by Marcus Lamb, the silencing meeting allegedly orchestrated by Joni Lamb, and the grotesque breach of medical confidentiality by Rachel Lamb have created profound skepticism about the organization's willingness to genuinely cooperate or its capacity for unbiased self-policing. This is precisely why the petitioner's central demand, a truly independent, third-party investigation led by forensic experts, certified child abuse investigators, and impartial lawyers, remains non-negotiable. Only such an investigation, free from the gravitational pull of Daystar's internal loyalties and power structures, possesses the credibility and capability to follow the evidence wherever it leads, to scrutinize the actions of all involved, including leadership, and to finally provide answers immune to accusations of bias or cover-up. The police probe is essential, but an independent investigation acts as a crucial safeguard and potential parallel path, ensuring that institutional influence cannot derail the process. The implications of this scandal ripple far beyond the walls of Daystar. It serves as a chilling case study in how institutions, particularly those enjoying public trust and deference, can catastrophically fail when protecting reputation becomes paramount over protecting the vulnerable. The alleged actions, discouraging police reports, silencing victims, declaring perpetrators cleared without investigation, sharing private medical data, represent a blueprint for institutional failure in abuse cases. It underscores the absolute necessity of mandatory external reporting, robust whistleblower protections, and independent oversight mechanisms for all organizations working with children. Baby Lamb's story, amplified by thousands of petitioners, has become a potent symbol for survivors everywhere, demonstrating the power of collective voice to challenge impunity. It highlights the critical role of experts like Debbie Leonard in validating trauma and the importance of vigilant witnesses willing to come forward despite potential pressure. The public outrage reflects a growing intolerance for institutions that circle the wagons instead of confronting abuse with transparency and courage. The question now isn't just about Pete's guilt or innocence. It's about whether Daystar as an institution can survive this self-inflicted crisis of credibility. Can it dismantle whatever systems or culture allowed such alleged obstruction to occur? Can it submit fully to independent scrutiny? The reopening of the police case and the relentless pressure for an independent probe offer a path forward, but the journey to restore trust, if it's even possible, will be long and arduous. The world continues to watch, hoping that for Baby Lamb, and for the sake of preventing future horrors, truth and accountability will finally prevail over power and silence. If you believe every child deserves protection and powerful institutions must be held accountable, please like this video, comment with your thoughts below, and subscribe for critical updates as this investigation unfolds. Your voice is part of the demand for justice.